Hello.
And yeah, as soon as Andrew's up and running, we'll get started. Hello, Andy.
Hello, how are you?
Fine and
Good
Dan.
morning. Oops. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Chip.
Morning.
All right, we're at 10:01, so I think we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Rachel, I believe you have everybody on the list for the meeting, so I think unless you need anything else on for who's here or who's not, let me know, Rachel.
Nope, we're good.
Okay. So up first, as usual, would be our approval of the agenda. Any changes to the agenda?
I just had one change. Item 9, the review of the replacement schedule. I was just going to do that as part of the budget, item 8. So I'll just cover that when we do that, rather as a separate item.
Okay, so that's combined with the budget. All right.
I make a motion for approval.
Second.
All right, motion and second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Is there any opposed? All right, motion passes. The agenda is approved. Up next would be the approval of the meeting minutes from November 25th.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Chet and a second, I believe by Andy, to approve the minutes from November 25th. Is there any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Up next is the opportunity for public comment. Is there anybody from the public that you're aware of, Rachel, that's joining us from somewhere? I'm not.
Sorry, there are
Go ahead, Rachel.
there's no comments from the public currently.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to item 5, would be the payables.
I move to accept the payables.
You guys hear me? Maybe not.
I'll second.
Second.
We'll give that second to Sheriff Thurman.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's great.
We have a motion and a second to approve the payables as presented. Any discussion on the payables? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Is there any opposed? The payables are approved. All right, moving right along, item 6, it would be any board comments or board committee reports from LawTAC or the Fire TAC.
Mr. Chairman, from the small agencies, this will be my last meeting representing the small agencies. Chief Herrera will take over as of January 1.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up, Scott. And it's already been mentioned, but much congratulations to you and hope a lot of success for you in your new role at Cowlitz too.
I appreciate that.
And Mr. Chairman, I know the law attack has not met, so there will be no report from them.
Okay, thanks, Sheriff. If there's nothing else under board comments or committee reports, then we'll keep.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
quick question. I believe Brandon Poff is on the line. I saw his name. Has the Fire TAC gotten together at all?
So we met in November, discussed a couple things, and then we were going to meet again in December, but because the Spillman Go Live meeting got pushed back, we're going to wait till January to meet again after Go Live.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Let's see, next would be the item 7. This is a cooperative purchasing agreement with the city of Seattle.
Yes, this came up as related to the emergency we declared last meeting for the replacement of the microwaves. We contacted the city of Seattle, and the microwave that we want to purchase is on their purchasing contract. Because you declared an emergency, you didn't necessarily need to bring this to the board, but we thought we'd take the opportunity to have the board consider this and approve this as being an opportunity for us to continue to have this relationship with the city of Seattle in the event that we want to, make purchases off of their contracts in the future there. So we are just presenting this to the board for your consideration to enter into this agreement with the city of Seattle for cooperative purchasing.
Okay, thank
I'd
you.
make- Oh,
Go ahead.
this is Kurt. I'd go ahead and make the motion to approve the cooperative purchasing agreement as presented.
Hamilton second.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second then to approve the cooperative purchasing agreement with City of Seattle. Is there any further discussion on that agreement? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Is there any opposed? All right, that motion passes. And then item 8 is a resolution for the 2020-010 2021 budget.
Yes, before you have the resolution for adopting of the 2021 budget. Attached to the resolution was the 2021 budget, and all there was no. We went through those changes at the last board meeting, at our November 25th board meeting. So the budget back up there that you have that reflects all those changes were made that we discussed at our November 25th meeting. I guess I was just going to stop at this point and see if the board had any questions on the 2021 budget. I did want to talk about the projections and the equipment reserve, but I thought I'd stop here and see if there was any particular questions the board had on any of the budgets. Again, we went over these at the 25th, so this final document reflects those changes we discussed on the 25th. If not, Rachel, could you go up a page ahead to the projection table? What we did, board, I was working with Rachel, and I want to give kudos to Rachel here. She has really been a big help with the financial, the budgeting and that, but I asked her to take on this project of actually start taking a look, looking ahead for the authority and how we look going out into the future relative to our various revenues and expenditures and that. And so what we put together for you is a 10-year projection of all the different budgets, our operating, our reserve, radio equipment reserves, our sales tax revenues and all that. And so this is, I just want to provide this to you more for information at this point in time there, but I think it's my experience is a really good tool for us to start thinking ahead about what, our financial capability, sustainability, those things. And so I've asked Rachel to take this on, and she's done a really good job of this. And I think on the operations table here, you can see out on the right-hand column there, what we've done throughout all these budgets there, we've shown you the assumptions that we made as far as annual inflationary increases, or if there's different types of things that other assumptions that we made in there. So it kind of gives you an idea of what went into the different escalations and changes that we made in there. And so this is the operating budget. And again, I wasn't going to go through every one of these in detail unless you had a chance to look at them and have specific questions. But I wanted to let you know, I guess, that we're working on this, and this is something that I've been working with staff on to try and start thinking about the future and take a look at our ability to sustain our operations and our capital things in the future. And I did, maybe I'll have her page down to the sales tax budget, because I just wanted to make a point here to you, I guess, at this point in time. Did you page down to sales tax, Rachel? and out there, you know, in 2032, I think what I wanted to look at, and I think the important thing here that I really wanted to have you think about is down there, if you look at the sales tax expenditures and your ending fund balances, you can see that based on our projections, and this takes into account all the different funds, replacement funds, your operations funds for radio, and that we've also got taken into consideration your rate stabilization fund, your bond and debt service payments you need to make. You can see that based on our projections, I think it's a really good news story. I think you're going to see we're actually even with inflationary increases on expenses and that, we really think that you're going to continue to have a very healthy ending fund balance in the sales tax fund. And in fact, based on these with the assumptions we made for increasing revenues and expenditures, we actually think that ending fund balance is going to continue to grow a bit in the sales tax fund there. So I just think that you know, 0.1% of 1% sales tax. The message here is that it's just really providing an excellent resource for a high level of service to all your users and users in the communication system, but to the public there. And I think the passage of that sales tax was just such a key asset for the 911 authority. So like I said, I wanted to provide this for you just so you can, you know, start thinking about that and in the future there. I just think you're in a really good financial position, and you know, for the new director and that as they come in there, I think that's a really good message that there's some good sustainability and the authority's in a really good financial position. So again, I'm happy to, if you want to today or at some time in the future, you have a chance to study this, you want to have some further discussions about this, I'd certainly be welcome to do that. And I certainly think with the new director, I think this would be something to really start diving into and start doing some strategic planning about, you know, where the authorities is today and where you might be going in the future there. But I think it's a really good news story, and just wanted to share that with you at this point. So I don't know if you had any thoughts or questions about any of you had a chance to look at it and did want to talk about it at all. I'd stop there.
I just had a methodology question just related to that, the sales tax projections, and just kind of curious what the methodology was that got you to those numbers.
Well, first of all, we took a look at historical, the authority hasn't been around a long time, obviously there. So we've taken a look at just, we have a short history there, but we did go back and look at, the history of sales tax revenues, in Calais County for the years. And with the exception of the recession in 2007, 2008, there's been some pretty good steady growth in the sales tax revenues. So that was kind of how we established the initial basis for 2021. I will tell you in 2021, we're conservative there. I've actually got, if you look at our projected column of what we think we might bring in 2020, actually dialed that back a little bit in 2021. So we're probably realistically going to start off in a better position than that. But that was the assumption that we made in there. And I believe we have a 3%, moving it forward, we used a 3% growth in sales tax revenue is our projections ahead. And that, again, is that, 2%. Thank you. Thanks, Rachel. But I think that if you go back and look at historical sales tax growth, I think that's a real reasonable, assumption or pretty reasonable way to project that. And I know Kurt and Andy, you probably have some pretty good experience with that sales tax too. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that too, but that's kind of the methodology we went about to use.
No, I would just say that first of all, really appreciate all the work that you and Rachel have put into the budget, and especially in providing these, outlooks into the future. I think those are obviously important, for, our planning purposes and for the sustainability of the 911 public authority. So I really appreciate that. Appreciate the work on establishing those depreciation schedules and replacements. Obviously, that's really important, and how you've tied that into the budget as well. And certainly, I would recognize that, with the construction activity that we're going to be taking on here in 2021, a lot of additional work had to be put into this budget with the bond issue and everything combined. So again, I really appreciate everyone's efforts. I think it looks great. And certainly I'm supportive of this budget resolution that you're bringing before us.
We also include your package, and the board did ask this question of us last meeting there about our depreciation schedule, and so again, that's the other attachment that's to this budget is we've put together replacement schedules for both the equipment reserve fund and the radio fund, radio replacement reserve fund. This is I'll compliment Deanna here. She's been working on this diligently there, and so this gives you a snapshot of, you know, over projecting out in the future what we believe to be our major capital expenditures in both the equipment reserve and the radio reserve. And so this gives you an idea of what those expenditures look like in the out years. The annual replacement reserve amounts that we put into the budget, again, are reflected on these schedules. So we've averaged these out over the life of these various different capital improvements there. And that's how we arrived at the annual amount of money that we need to put in the replacement reserve. So it's all based on this schedule. And again, my experience with replacement schedules are they do change. You might increase the type of equipment that you're going to use in the future there. So that could affect this schedule and that. But I think this, again, it's just a really good planning tool and a good way to start taking a look at your future needs there. And I know my experience previously, I remember we did the CAD system when I was at the city of Longview. We had to come up with about 1.7 or $2 million at that time. And all the user agencies had to come up with that money at that particular time. And that was a very difficult task, I recall, of all of us figuring out how to do that. So again, I think this methodology that the board has agreed to start adopting in your annual budgets or start putting money away is really going to serve you well. And again, we have, and based on our projections, I think we have the ability to sustain this and be able to put this money away too. So I really think this reflects the solid financial position that the authorities under now and should be in the future.
So Bob, I just had a quick question on this one, and looking at, and Deanna could perhaps answer it too, but look at that these CAD upgrades would occur approximately maybe every 7 years or so. And in the amount shown, are those the replacement costs, and because they appear to be less than perhaps, you know, what we had previously, or is that what we're showing here?
Well, Rachel, can you make that bigger so I can see it? Sorry.
You know, 2021, we have the 560, and then 2028, 400, and
So in the 2021 is the cost of the new Spillman CAD system to get rid of Intergraph and go to a whole new system. That's what our quote is from them, or the contract.
Okay.
And then I just projected a percentage of that for, you know, upgrades, expansion, replacement of hardware, software upgrades. And really it's a shot in the dark, just kind of a placeholder of based on, we'll say, Intergraph CAD, if we did a whole overhaul of that, what those costs would have been. And with Spillman, I don't necessarily know 7 years from now. So kind of a placeholder in that. And the other thing is, this is a dynamic document, and it should be used every year as you're doing your budgeting and planning. There are some opportunities through the state with grants and things where you can kind of offset some of those expenses as well. But I just wanted to make sure that there were enough funds set aside every year to build up those equipment replacement accounts.
okay. No, I appreciate the effort there. Yeah. Thank you.
So if that's all I had on the budget, I think these are just some of the backup information for the budget. So I think with that, I think we're done with that. And I think you can go back to the resolution, I think, from my standpoint.
Thank you, Bob. So I'd entertain a motion if anybody is ready.
I'd make a motion to approve the budget resolution as presented.
Second. McKinster.
Thank you, Chet. We have a motion and a second to approve the budget resolution as presented. Is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Is there any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Up next, we have the director's report. So I'll turn it back over to Bob.
Right, thank you. Staffing update, no changes from last month. Again, we did lose 2 dispatch, or we have lost Chris last month, took another job, and Maria continues to be on maternity leave. So we're still at that position. We are finishing up the backgrounds and psychs on 3 candidates that we're considering right now. We're still on schedule, we think, to hopefully make an offer to at least 2 of those people by the end of this month, and hopefully to start getting them into queue and getting them in the training process. So that's still our plan relative to that. Facility update. I sent you all a copy of our the news that we got, the incredible good news we got on the bond rating last weekend. We got that. I got notification on that Friday. Our bond underwriter, D.A. Davidson, Jim Nelson with D.A. Davidson, he's actually run new numbers based on that AA rating. And it looks like, based on our new numbers, is our annual debt service with that rating could probably decrease as much as $50,000 a year. So that's how important that bond rating is. And that was, I get kudos to, I know Kurt helped us on the bond presentation. So thanks, Kurt, for your help on that. I thought our Northwest underwriters did a really good job putting together that presentation too. And I think my experience on previous bond presentations, we had very few questions from the rating agency. I mean, I thought we did a really comprehensive presentation. So I think we presented ourselves really well that way. They did have a couple follow-ups afterwards that we got right back to them on that. And I just think that for a brand new authority with a very short history, to get a AA rating like that is very commendable. And again, just puts us in a really good position. And the whole financial worthiness of the authority now and the projections that we could demonstrate to them, I think all contributed to that. So that was very good news. I'm really, really pleased about that. But we were able to accomplish that. We are exchanging contracts with Patriot Construction. They will, I in fact literally got them today. So we are in the process of signing a contract. We're trying to schedule a pre-construction conference for yet this month. And we'd like to get that done. We are tentatively, or not tentatively, I want to schedule a groundbreaking. I'll get back to the board, but we're thinking about a groundbreaking ceremony in January. I think that's really important to celebrate this. I think there's an opportunity for us to thank the voters who approved this, the sales tax, and allow us to kick this off and have a big splash on the groundbreaking. So if any of you have, I'm thinking, in January, as soon as we get the contractor schedule, we'll know, but I'm thinking sometime in the first half of January. So if I know if any of the board's going to be out of town, you might let me know if you're going to be gone in January. So I'd like to schedule that around so that all the board could attend that if possible. I think that's a really important event, and so we'll be working with the contractor on that. Once we get his schedule and know that they're going to start mobilizing, we'll get that set up. So. With that, I don't think I have any other comments relative to the facility. If anybody have any questions on the facility project? I wanted Spillman, again, with COVID and everything going on, the Spillman project was delayed, but we have set a kickoff date for January 5th with Spillman. So we will get that fired up and running in the first of the year. And again, they've assured us that even though we've had to delay the kickoff and get started, that they will stay on schedule and we'll still have that project delivered to us in conjunction with us wanting to start up at the new location. So all that is off and going. Radio infrastructure project, again, all the equipment's being ordered and they plan on doing construction and installation of the radio infrastructure beginning in January. With that, I don't have any other updates from my end.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Any questions, I guess, on any of that or anything else for Bob? All right, doesn't look like it. So move right along. Is there anything for old business?
Just one thing, as far as the selection committee, and Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, but we wanted to make sure that we came up with a letter that we could present to you to give to the candidate if a candidate is selected for prior to board approval, so that he knows that we have a commitment in him. Just be a normal, letter of employment. I think all of us look at those where we talk about a wage, benefits package, and when they would start, and those items of those nature.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
So we just wanted to let you know that we were working on that, and we may be getting a hold of you after the interviews tomorrow.
And how many are we interviewing at this point, Andy?
3 people.
3.
Is that right, Bob?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks for the heads up, Andy.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, and then do we have the need for executive session today?
No, no, I think with what Andy shared with you, if you're okay, if we were going to get into specifics, I was going to suggest you go into executive session, but if you don't need to get into specifics on that, I think we're good.
Yeah, I'm good with that unless somebody else on the board would like any more specifics.
The only thing I'd bring up is in terms of this letter, would that be a conditional offer? I know Bob alluded to having some candidates for dispatch go through a psych test and background, and just I don't know if we'd really discussed having that step for the director, just to do our due diligence, but make a conditional offer if we find a preferred candidate, and then part of the conditions for employment be contingent on some of the, at least the same steps the dispatchers go through.
I think that was my assumption, that you would do that. Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page on that, and that there is a little bit more vetting that goes on.
Yeah.
On what Kaufman's doing.
Yeah. And that letter is like an intent to enter into an employment agreement. That'd all be subject to doing those kind of things, as you indicate, Sheriff.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So if there is no need for executive session, up next would be, I think we need to make the call on a December 23rd meeting. Do we want to keep that on the schedule, or would we like to cancel that?
I make a motion to cancel.
Merry Christmas. I agree.
I'll third that.
Okay.
Well, I think we should ask the director if he thinks we need one first.
Yeah.
No, we're comfortable. I've checked with Rachel on that, and I think as far as payment of bills and all that, we're in good shape. So at this point, I don't have any business that can't wait till the January meeting.
I'll fourth it then.
Okay. All right, then it sounds like we'll cancel the 23rd. No need for that. All right, anything else for the good of the order before we call it? All right, doesn't sound like it. Thank you, everybody.
Yep. Have a great day, everyone.
Yep, have a great day.
Thank you. Happy holidays.